Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and for the last week I've been driving the 2026 Hyundai Palisade XRT Pro. Up front is a 3.5 liter V6, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be making this video here today because I've spent the last week driving the new Palisade XRT. This is an all-new generation of the Palisade. We've reviewed a mid-trim a couple of months ago, and so now we get to review somewhat of the exciting trim. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 3.5 liter V6 under the hood. Well, it makes 287 horsepower, and so this is going to be the most powerful version of the Palisade here for the XRT. The main thing that I like about it is that it is a V6 and not a 4-cylinder turbo. A lot of vehicles in this segment, looking at the Subaru Ascent or the Toyota Grand Highlander, those vehicles all have 4-cylinder turbos. This has a tried and true V6 that has proven itself to be pretty reliable. And so you're gonna get that around town torque that the 6-cylinder is known for, as well as just a little bit of extra peace of mind when driving it around. However, there is a hybrid on the horizon that you can actually buy now, and videos on that should be coming out rather soon as the press drive just took place. Now, like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Again, pretty solid here for the Palisade. Seems to work well. It's unintrusive, and it works. And last but not least, this does have their H-Track all-wheel drive system, and the XRT Pro gets an electronic LSD, or electronic limited slip differential, which will help with harsher terrain. How does it feel to drive the Hyundai Palisade XRT? It rides really nice. So the XRT does get a little bit of a suspension lift and a little bit knobbier tires than the standard. However, that doesn't impose itself on the driving feel at all. Honestly, this is the comfier driver. I don't know what it is, maybe it's time of year or what, but this feels nicer to drive than the SEL that we reviewed a couple months ago. I like it. It has a nice ride to it. Visibility is good out the front. Out the back isn't great, but you're gonna find that in pretty much any SUV. And overall, I just really enjoy the driving experience, which I can't say I was expecting out of a vehicle like this. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster. Now, I can switch this around between simple, modern, and classic styles, and I like that they give you that ability. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I would love if Hyundai or any company that does this would offer download packs. I'd even pay a couple of bucks to get a new gauge cluster every month to sort of liven up and change the vehicle a little bit. So I like this idea in theory. On the steering wheel on the left, we do have our selector for that gauge cluster screen, as well as our adaptive cruise. And off to the right, we have our skip track, volume, and mode buttons. We do get paddle shifters around the back, probably one of the least utilized buttons on this vehicle. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, gauge dimmer switch, power tailgate release, auto start stop on and off, tow mode, power parking brake, and traction control off. And moving out of the door, we have our latch get in and out, power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get our infotainment display. It is slightly shifted towards the driver, which I really, really like. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and some really nice features found in here. I think it's clear. I think it has a good refresh rate. I think it's easy to use. And we do get a 360 camera, which is very, very helpful for parking. Down below that, we get a bunch of buttons. So starting at the very left, we have our auto holding brake, as well as our drive mode and terrain. So for terrain mode, we have snow, mud, and sand. And for drive mode, we have eco, normal, sport, and my drive. Then we have our radio buttons. They stay where they are. And what I mean by that is like the Kia EV6 has this panel that switches between radio and climate controls. Very tactile, very simple radio controls here, volume and tune, hazard switch in the center with our climate control vents. And then off to the right, we have hill descent control, parking sensors on and off, and our parking camera on and off. And then we get our climate controls down below. Heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, and of course, dual zone climate, which is all nice to see. Down below, we do get a storage cubby with a 12-volt outlet, but moving up the center console, we have 3 USB-Cs, 2 for charging, 1 for radio input. We also do get a wireless charger, which is fantastic, and we have cup holders off to the right, so we'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and just like the SEL that we tested earlier this year, it does, in fact, pass the big friggin' bottle test. Then we get the center console and the seats. The seats are finished in a nice dark leather. They're comfortable, they're heated and ventilated, and for the XRT, we do get XRT embossed into the headrest, which I always love as a nice little touch. Anytime a company does anything to a trim level, they have to get it cleared by the suits, they have to build and design a manufacturing process for it, they have to find suppliers for it, and so even just this little XRT badge, I'm sure was a headache, and I'm glad that they did it. However, speaking of seats, the Palisade is a 3-row SUV, so let's go do some backseat reviews. All right, so we're in the second row of the Palisade XRT, and a couple of great things to note. First of all, knee room fantastic, headroom great as well. Up on the ceiling here, we do have our climate controls, fan speed, temperature, all of that. Down below here, we have a wall outlet as well as a pull-out cubby, which is very nice to see. We have USB-C chargers in the sides of the front seats for the second row to use. We have window shades for les bébés, speakers, power windows, cup holders, all that normal stuff. This is a nice place to be. For just 4 adults driving in the Palisade, you're gonna have plenty of room. It's a really, really nice spot to be in. However, the big question on everyone's mind is that third row, and I don't remember how the SEL was, so this will be a rediscovery for me, so let's hop back there. All right, besides it being chilly back here, because I've had the heat on up there, but not back here, it's actually decent. I'm 5'11", not a small guy, and I'm crammed for sure, but this wasn't really designed for me. If you have little kids, I would say below the age of 15, they're gonna fit back here pretty well. And you're gonna be able to use this as a 3-row SUV pretty much all the time. Also for the kiddos, we have 2 USB-C chargers back here, 100-watt outlets. We have cup holders, and that's pretty much it, but that's pretty much all you need. Oh, you have a real bright light there. My goodness gracious. It's going to work. There are other 3-row SUVs available. I always try to urge people, if you do have a big family, minivans are still fantastic for big families, but this works out really well. They don't currently make any off-roading minivans, so, you know, I guess this is the closest that you could get to that. We do have some nice vents here in the ceiling, so there you go. That's the Palisade XRT. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the Palisade XRT Pro. Single button back there for the power tailgate. Love to see that. And once we are back here, nothing really too crazy. We do get a 12-volt outlet right here. I would have liked to have seen a wall outlet as well, especially since they have it in the second row. I feel like it would have been easy to put one back here as well, but I'm not complaining. We can pull this up. We do get some, we get the window sticker. There's the window sticker in case you were curious. But we do get some tire assistance parts, things like that. Oh, hello. Who are you? That actually scared me. I thought that was a person. Overall, there it is. That is the back of the Hyundai Palisade XRT Pro. We can lock it or just close it here. There you go. Nice, smooth, calm, and collected. However, the beeping seems to have scared our friend away. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and you'll notice a lot is changed here with the XRT Pro. We do get a slightly raised ride height, we get knobbier tires, we get the red recovery hooks, we get different bumpers, and overall, I really, really enjoy the look of this XRT Palisade. I think they did a really good job sort of capturing what soft off-roaders really want. They want that look and appeal of being an off-road munching machine, but they also want it to ride nice, and I think Hyundai has found that middle ground pretty well here with the XRT Pro Palisade. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving now the XRT Pro Palisade for the 2026 model year? Well, I like it a lot. I think they did a lot of things really, really well. Is this a hardcore off-road machine? No, and I still prefer Subaru's Wilderness trim levels as the sort of king of soft roaders. I actually, the same week, had a Subaru Forester Wilderness on test, so I was able to park them side by side, and I tend to actually like the Wilderness a little bit better for off-road uses. But that is not a three-row. This is a three-row vehicle, and it has a lot of benefits over that. It has that V6. I trust this V6 a lot more than I trust four-cylinder turbos. I like that it has an 8-speed and not a CVT. It has an electronic limited slip diff. It has legitimate recovery hooks up at the front. Those red recovery hooks are not just for vanity like in some other soft roader trim levels of other vehicles. These are legit recovery hooks. You're going to be able to yank this out of the mud with those red hooks. That is very, very nice. There's not a whole lot of this car that's just showboaty without usefulness. And you see that in a lot of other products. And so that's what I like to see. Do I want this next time I go out to Moab, Utah? Not quite. But if I drive to a trail, if, there's a mountain biking spot or a hiking spot that a little bit of modulation to get there, a little bit of soft material out in the backwoods or out in the backlands, this is a great alternative because you're not going to use its off-road capability every day of the year. And so on-road, it's going to be nice. You can transport your family. You can get that new 55-inch TV, which is actually small considering. I just had a conversation with a friend. He's buying a 98-inch TV. I think he needs a lobotomy more than that, but whatever. You can fit that 98-inch TV in the trunk of this. You're going to be able to move with this. You're going to be able to fit friends and family and do what you need to do in this vehicle the 360 days of the year that you're not driving off-road trails, that you're not going mountain biking, that you're not hiking or camping or backpacking. That's the nice part about these soft off-roaders, and I think Hyundai's doing well. I reviewed the XRT Santa Fe earlier this year, and I was very disappointed. It barely got any differences. It got no ride height difference. It got slightly knobbier tires and badging, and that was it. Now Hyundai is actually starting to do a little bit more with that badge, and I'm excited to see where it takes them. I hope that they do a more off-road hardcore version. Maybe one day they will do a Bronco, Jeep, 4Runner competitor. Maybe. But for now, they're taking this in the right direction. And the soft off-roader scene is very hot right now. So they're capitalizing on something that people want. And I think this is a rather worthy want for a lot of people. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Hyundai for letting me borrow their XRT Palisade for the last week. Huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle. And of course, the Midwest Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.